Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode on connecting with Edward Zia. This is episode 5, and yeah, I'm joined in with Edward Zia, one of the Sydney's influencer and coming into worldwide influencers soon, which is already started. And my name is Sam Lee. I'm the founder of Connect with Confidence, and I'll be interviewing Edward. And I'm very privileged to be speaking to Edward Zia. How you been? How you going today, Edward?
Sam, it's an absolute pleasure to be on your show. I love it. I'm usually the interviewer, so I love being interviewed. It makes my life very easy, and it's great being here.
Yeah, totally. It just makes life easier for you, less workload. But yeah, it's just more work I have to do from my side because I'll be asking more questions and you just answering more. Yeah. So Edward, tell me, how was your weekend?
No, the weekend was really good. I took a little bit of time out, but I actually spent the weekend had some family time, had a good time, but I was also doing lots of influencer stuff. So I actually spent a lot of time doing family stuff, caught up with a few really good friends, family friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also doing a lot of LinkedIn content over the weekend as well. And I've actually been tweaking my strategy a lot lately. I've been looking at what works and what doesn't work. And I've really been optimizing the heck out of my LinkedIn strategy. I've tested everything.
Yep.
Every day I test something new. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Some of it I run around saying I'm awesome. Some of it I've got egg on my face. But yeah, so I've been actually testing a lot of different things to really take my game to the next level. And I actually spent my weekend doing that.
Oh, that's good. Very productive. So I guess you're just trialing and error, like seeing what's work and what doesn't work. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. And I've got a lot of friends who are influencers on different platforms. I've got friends who are big on TikTok, friends on YouTube, and we compare notes. Like I'm a LinkedIn guy, right? So it's sort of like, it's like we're all different martial artists, and I'm like the karate guy who speaks to the kung fu guy who speaks to the taekwondo girl, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So
Get a linker.
yeah, and one of the big things, if I think of all the top influencers, what they're very good at, and this is what I learned, they're very good at studying all their previous posts. So I was actually doing it just before. What I'll do is I'll always go back to, usually in the mornings if I can, or sometime the next day, I'll go back to my past 24 hours of posts and I'll look at how they performed. I'll look at who's liking and commenting. I'll look at what took off, what bombed.
Yeah.
And so every day I'm looking at my own content thinking, how can I do it better? So that's a cool thing that I've been doing.
That's great. Does LinkedIn actually have analytics, just like Google Analytics? So just see like what's the trend so far, so you can actually.
Yeah. It's really good. I mean, you get the basic things like, views, like, comment, and shares, which is pretty standard. But the bit that LinkedIn does that no other platform does is it tells you what region the views are coming on and what their job position is. So it tells you the job position. It tells you the companies, the job position, and where the views are coming from. So you know very quickly whether your post is hitting a target market or not, which is incredible. So instead of just saying, 35-year-old females are seeing it, what does that actually mean to me? It means nothing. Yep. It's sort of like, gender to me makes no difference. Race, age, I'm not interested. I'm more interested in what do people actually do seeing it. So it'll be, directors are seeing it, sales directors, company founders. So LinkedIn gives really good analytics. And and I always say this again, with respect to other influencers, it depends what you do. I'm a business to business type of influencer.
Yep.
But it depends. You might be more of a consumer. You might be an Instagram girl. It all depends what you're trying to do and what your platform is and what type of influencer you're trying to become. I'm more of a business, political type of character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Nothing wrong with you posting, posting about ScoMo and things like that. So you're into the Prime Minister, eh? So what actually made you into liking Scott Morrison?
Well, so Scott Morrison and I go way back. I won't tell the whole story because I'll just bore our audience to tears, but the condensed version.
Yeah.
I used to be a homeless veteran. And what I did was, as I started to get my life on track and I started my business, one of my friends, I actually met one of the MPs from the Liberal Party. Yep. And long story short, I ended up joining the Liberal Party in my early 30s and getting involved in. When I went to a function, I met Scott Morrison. This is maybe about maybe 10 years ago, around about that. Pardon me if I'm a bit fuzzy on the years.
Yeah.
And I think at the time he was like a finance minister. So I knew who he was. I've seen him on TV, but he was a minor character at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And loveliest guy ever. He was really, because I was, again, they give some context. I was a nobody, right? An absolute nobody then. And Scott Morrison was really nice to me. And he goes, oh, so tell me a bit about you. And I just said, look, I used to be a veteran. I was homeless. I'm here now. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you're with us. And what happened was, so we were just friends on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I'd always like sharing comment on his stuff. We were just friends. Yeah. And then what happened was a few years ago, I was just sitting there on my couch with my wife, literally eating popcorn, and Scott Morrison became Prime Minister. I'm like, what? I didn't see that coming because I thought Julie Bishop was going to get in Alicia. I did not. And Scott Morrison took it. And now I can see why in hindsight. Anyway, and that was the last time I spoke to him because he just said, look, Ed, I'm going to not talk to you for a long time, but I'll be back because quite often he doesn't control social media anymore. The moment you become PM, it goes to your whole team.
That's great. It's actually good that you actually know him. And like it's just before, like he was lower profile and now he's like just the Prime Minister of Australia. It's something that's, I guess you can make it as an experience for a lifetime. That is someone before and experience.
And also too, what I'm doing is by promoting Scott Morrison the way I do, it helps promote me too. So I'm using Scott Morrison.
Yep.
By promoting him, it makes me look good to my market because again, a lot of people say you should never ever talk politics, and which is actually good advice. I say to people, unless you know what you're doing, never ever talk politics.
Yep.
But my market, they either don't care or they love Scott Morrison. So quite often people who don't like Scott Morrison, they're not my target. They'll never work with me anyway. In fact, they just often quite hate me. So it's just the way it is.
That's great. Yeah, totally. Like, no one likes to talk about politics in general because people's got different views. But I guess, you just need to go to people on the same page, eh?
So there's three things. There's the three taboos of social media is politics. So it's politics, sex, and religion. Yeah. And I don't talk about sex. Sex is not really our thing, so to stay out of it. But politics and a little bit of religion I'll talk about. A little bit. But when I talk about religion, I don't really talk about religion. I more talk about spirituality and God and helping people, which you would argue isn't religion, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally. Like some of these, like actually, it's kind of like taboo topics, like where some people might be sensitive towards those topics, and then it's really about like yourself testing boundaries, see if people actually get offended or actually don't necessarily on the same page. But yeah, that's actually great to.
Because what was interesting when I started posting my Scott Morrison political posts, all the people that were offended and trolled me, I either didn't know them or they were people I was already having trouble with.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like all my top clients were like congratulating me saying this. So my clients were saying, Ed, thank you. Finally, someone's speaking up for him. But all the people that gave me a hard time, I either didn't know them or they've already given me a hard time historically. I've already had problems with that person. So then I tweaked very quickly.
Yep.
I can use this as an opportunity to clean out my feed because be it, Facebook or LinkedIn, it's sort of like, it's by sharing that, it gets people away from you. So I only started sharing the Scott Morrison posts on Facebook recently. And I had over 100 people unfriend me in a day on Facebook. This is only about a week ago because I've been doing this post on LinkedIn. So I thought, I'm going to throw it on Facebook as well. And a bunch of people unfriended me and abused me. And I'm like, good riddance. It's like, I wish I was never connected to you to begin with. It's just awesome. It's like, just leave me alone. Please go away. No hard feelings. Have a great life, but just please leave me alone.
Yeah. That's true. Like, you don't like, if you resonate with everyone, then you just be like the king or something like that. Like, but I guess like you really need to, I guess you niched out your target audience, which is good. Like, not everyone can resonate with everyone. So I guess, what you're doing is fine. Yeah, I learned the hard way as well. Like, it's really about connecting with like-minded people, and I think that's what really matters. Yeah, to protect yourself. So it's good. It's good to have boundaries. So tell me about what do you like doing outside of work, Ed? Like, what's your hobbies and things like that?
Yeah, I got a few actually. So I love playing video games.
Yep.
I've actually been. I want to be very racist here. You're an Asian guy, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I installed Command and Conquer 3.
Wow.
You know, and I know you know what I'm talking about, right? All Asians know Command and Conquer. That's why I like Asians so much. And I've actually been playing. So what it is that my computer's actually really old, my desktop, and it's not good enough to play modern games. But to be honest with you, I'm sort of waiting till I'll upgrade it next year because I'm busy, you know, with other stuff. But I've actually been installing games from about 10 years ago that I never played properly.
Yeah.
You know, cool games from I thought, until I get a new computer, I'm going to go back in time and play all the cool games that I missed. And so I've been playing Command and Conquer 3. So I like video games, and I also like health and fitness too. So I like, for example, going for walks with the family, going to beaches. It's great being in Sydney for that. And also I like going to the gym. I like going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. So it's been great that gyms have reopened post-corona because right now I look really good. And I was just saying before, this top that I'm wearing, I'm actually really happy. It didn't fit me a few weeks ago. So this top, I was so fat from Corona.
Yeah.
This top was like, now it actually fits me nicely. But this top, I was kind of like bursting out of my top. I got that fat during Corona.
Yeah. I actually gained some weight from COVID as well. So it's really about going back into rhythm. But yeah, I see you looking great, Ed. Like ever since last time, I think you toned a bit. You buffed up a bit, and yeah, like looks better than last time I saw you at Novotel.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. Yeah. So I had to take care of myself, and I tell you what. So yeah, it's sort of like health, fitness. I enjoy travel. Obviously, it's hard in the Corona world. You got to be careful, but you know, traveling. I really enjoy the family, and also yeah, the whole health and fitness journey in video games. So they're my main hobbies. And the other thing is as well, I love actually politics. So I actually spend a lot of time on YouTube, watching a lot of right winger videos. So I watch a lot of a lot of Trump stuff, if you know what I mean.
Trump, yeah. So that's great. Like you talked about Command and Conquer. I remember I was playing Command and Conquer 1. I think I was like probably teenage back then, probably like 10, 13, 14. but those were the good old days. I'm a fan of video games as well.
Well, did you know this only came out a month ago? They've launched Command and Conquer Remastered, right? And it's Command and Conquer 1, like fully remastered. It only came out a month ago. You know the guy who plays Kane?
Yeah.
He's back in it, and there's new content from him today, the same actor. So they've actually, you got to check it. It's called Command and Conquer 1 Remastered. So it's Command and Conquer 1, but all brand new graphics and everything. So it's the same humor and same game, but they've remastered. It came out like a month ago. I'm considering getting it, Command and Conquer Remastered.
Oh, really? That's great. So yeah, have you played I think you've heard of Red Alert as well? Have you heard of that game?
Oh, yeah. All those games. Yeah. Command and Conquer, Red Alert, all them. So I'll be working my way through them. So I thought, while I've got my old computer, I'm going to go back and finish all the old games. I'll play the old games I used to love.
Yeah, then upgrade, yeah.
Yeah, and then when I ditch I don't know, I'll probably get a new computer next year. I don't want to do it now. Once I've played all the old retro games, I'll then get a new computer. Then I'll do like Fallout 4 and XCOM 2 because, again, I've got 2 young kids. So there's a lot of games that I've missed that I'm now catching up on.
That's great. It's good to be turning back the clock in terms of playing the old games. That's pretty good. Like, I remember my first game was Diablo, and I played Counter-Strike, and I played Command & Conquer, and all this thing. Yes, they're all good games.
That's why I like Asians, because if you speak to an Asian man, guaranteed you'll know what I'm talking about. If I talk to a white guy, they'll just stare at me. Well, some of them will know, but most will stare at me like I'm a nerd. But Asian, hot, wonderful Asian men like you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Totally. Like that's why we're in the same page, and you have a lovely wife, Asian wife as well.
Yeah, exactly. So everything Asian. So I'm a Persian guy who loves everything Asian. That's
right. We're on the same page then. It's great. I like it. So yeah, Ed, tell me about your career. Like, so what made you get into as a marketing coach? Would you call yourself that, or what's your title for your?
Yeah, no. Marketing coach is exactly what I do. So I've actually tweaked that. I used to be more of a marketing and sales coach, but now I'm being called more of an influencer and marketing coach. Okay. So I've kind of moved from sales and marketing to more influence and persuasion, if you know what I mean. Still a marketing coach.
Okay, cool. That's great. Yeah. And I hope, like, from your background, you used to be in the army, and then now you turn into what you said, like an influencer marketer. What made you get into what made you transition from your previous career into this career?
Yeah, so I originally had a military policing career that was going quite well, and
Yeah.
basically I got injured in a very bad, drug sting. So I got injured in an operation, and that was the end. I almost died, right? So I was very injured, and unfortunately I couldn't continue. I was too injured to continue what I was doing, which I was really sad about. So originally I was going in the whole military, federal policing direction, but things happen. And what actually I ended up doing is after that, I ended up going into corporate Australia. So the Australian government actually did a pretty good job of looking after me. They gave me a bit of money so I could go to uni. So I ended up going to uni and actually got a degree.
Yep.
And I ended up going into corporate Australia, and very quickly I went into sales and marketing.
Yep.
And so I actually had quite a successful corporate Australian career.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much in my early 30s, I ended up getting really sick from PTSD. I had a few bad relationships, made a stack of bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up being homeless in my late 20s, early 30s.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I ended up living in my car. And when I sort of came back in life again, I didn't go back to same old, same old. I went in the complete direction I am now. So I used to be more of a marketing coach and consultant, but over the past 2 years especially, morphed into like more of an influencer coach and educator.
That's great. That's pretty good. I like to hear stories from like how you went from university to where you are now. That's really what's inspiring. And I guess like when you go in the army, people like that kind of like your background because you're serving the community as a whole, and it's really all about inspiring people, right?
And it's very good because part of me misses the army policing life, but the good news is the way I look at it is, even though I'm a veteran, so I'm not doing army or policing work now, that background gives me the opportunity to help army and police. So because I got that background, it lends me to supporting people in that environment. So again, I do a lot of work with the government. I got a lot of clients who are in the police and military, which is, so even though I don't have that direct input like I used to, I'm still able to support those organizations, which is something that I think is awesome. So I'm more supporting them from a political influencer educational viewpoint.
I see. And you still connect with a lot of your old buddies, like your old colleagues and things like that?
Well, on a funny note, a lot of them died actually, which is tragic. So a lot of the ones I was friends with died. However, a few of the ones earlier on I met have actually found me on LinkedIn. What happened was the ones I was with towards the end, a lot of them died, right? Which is tragic. But a lot of the original characters I met in basic training, they're all finding me on LinkedIn now, right? because and they go, hey, I'm such and such. I went to Puckapunya with you. I was in Wangaratta with you. I went to South Australia with you. Hey, I knew you from Canberra. And I'm like, I look at them and I'm like, what? I have to like remember back 20 years. And I'm like, gotcha. Boom. Hey, I remember you. You're a great guy. Or thank you. So they've been finding me, which has been absolutely flattering, which has been really cool.
That's great. It's good to catch up with them. Like you never know. Like you're a LinkedIn influencer, and then suddenly just this grabbing onto you, and then you see this kind of result that might be inspired as well. You like it. Yeah, that's great. So so tell me how long have you been in this journey for, like as a marketing coach, like in the marketing? So you said yourself you were studying the sales and marketing side. How long has it been in the making now?
So I've been in business for 10 years, right? 10 years roughly. And I've been really successful and made a lot of money. And I've also crashed because and just being honest with you and the audience, I don't BS at all.
Yeah, that's great.
I used to be, as I was saying before, I used to be more of a marketing consultant before I more became a coach and influencer. And what happened to me was, so I would have like a lot of clients paying me, for example, $5,000 a month, right? And I'd be more of a marketing consultant helping them out, not so much a coach. And what happened, Sam, that was, really damaged my business and really threw me, even before COVID, was, I think it was not last year, but the year before. It might have been last year, actually. I could be getting my time frame wrong, but we had the federal nationwide election in Australia, where Scott Morrison, it was very contested. It was, I think it was last year, I'm not getting my years mixed up, but you had Scott Morrison, who's like a right winger versus like the Labor lefty. And a lot of that absolutely shattered the confidence of the market. So I had quite a few big consulting clients that got in huge trouble, and so I ended up losing them as clients because they had to lay off staff because they went from, because the markets were so uncertain, a lot of them lost their big contracts or they lost a big customer and they had to lay off staff. So that was when I said adios to them. And that was interesting because in just a few months, I lost over 60% of my revenue like that in just a few months.
Yeah. Wow.
So if you spoke to me a few months before the election, oh man, kicking butt, just, making money hand over fist. Yep. Then very quickly, my whole business, more than half of it just got cut off in a month because they got into trouble. And that's when I realized, yes, I made a lot of money, but what I realized was what I did wasn't very sustainable. And I realized I want to go in a new direction. So I started going in the coach influencer direction. And that, again, much more stable, solid type of business with more growth. So and again, you don't have to do the crazy hours. So even though I was making great money as a marketing consultant, oh man, I was working like 80, 100 hours a week, if not more. And the problem is that because I was so busy doing work for my clients, what I'm going to say here, I was in that trap. I'm too busy with my clients, not enough time to market. I was in that horrible cycle. And now I'm very well out of that cycle and it feels great.
That's great. Yeah, it's really about adapting to changes, right? What's working and what's not working. Yeah. So
yeah. And things can happen to you, like Corona's, for example, is things, your business can be awesome. Then all of a sudden something good or bad happens. Something good can catapult you and something bad can happen that slaughters you.
Yep.
And you kind of got to react to each. You can absolutely take off, which is what happened to me on LinkedIn, a positive lift like that. Or something bad can happen that you got to deal with, and then you got to make decisions accordingly to deal with those situations.
Very true. Very true. Wow, that's great. Yeah, I guess you really need to. I guess it's a journey after all, like journey of growth for your business. So when you look back, it's like it's actually exciting. Like you made these mistakes and how you improvise from it as well. It's really about adapting it to it. That's great, and that's something I'm learning as well. Yeah.
The biggest lesson I've learned, Sam, is that you got to be really popular. Like, everyone has to know you. You got to be out there because even if you have a bad time or some bad stuff happens to your business, if you're very popular and well liked, you can rebuild quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas if no one knows you, you don't have a big network, you're dead meat. So you got to be popular. You got to have a big network. Very important.
All right. I took notes from you, judging from your influencer. That's actually a great tip. So talking about tips. So you're an influencer. You've got like around how many LinkedIn followers do you have now? Around 40? Did you 40?
I've got 48,000 now. 48,000.
And counting.
And got about 10,000 on our business page, but growing. Usually grow 200 to 300 followers every 24 hours, which is really exciting.
That's great. Yeah. So what's the secret to getting that much people?
Well, the number one thing is that you got to share really good content that people love. Without content, there's nothing. Content is absolutely it. So what I do is I'm doing my best every day to share a continuous stream of great quality content that people like, people get value out of. So, they connect with me, they follow me, they share my stuff. Some of them become leads and clients, and they buy my courses or workshops or programs. That's great. So that's the way that I go about it.
That's great.
It comes down to sharing really good content. And for example, I try and post about 8 to 10 times a day.
Wow, that's great.
Depends what I'm doing. I might be running a workshop that day where I might post once or twice, but I might have a day where I'm at home all day and I'll just post all day. So it's all ebbs and flows, right? Swings and roundabouts. And it's that stream of continual posting is what makes you popular and successful. Because again, I get seen, quite often at least I usually get seen about at least 20,000 times a day.
Yep.
And that's all you need, just day in and day out, and you just keep it all moving.
Set for life. That's great. And what would you, so I guess you have to build positive relationships with the people that you connect with, right? What would you do normally to build rapport with people? Like, what's your secret behind that?
Well, the first thing I do with we have, and you, and thank you again. The first thing I do with people is I invite them to one of my events. So forget talking internationally. Every week I run a live webinar and I run a meetup, which is like online international. So the first thing is I always so I always run free events and I invite people to my free events.
Yep.
And for me, that's the best way of building rapport, because it's not me persuading you to like me. It's me, hey, do you want to come to a free networking event? Hey, you want to get some free content? So the way I build rapport is by giving people heaps of free stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, and there's nothing more powerful than that, because I'm not trying to persuade you to like me. I just give you heaps of free stuff, and people usually like you.
Oh, that's great. That's where the magic happens, eh?
Yeah, well, it's human nature. If someone is, unless you're like a weird psychopath or you're funny in the head, right?
Yep.
Unless there's something wrong with you.
Yep.
You know, if someone is really nice to you and gives you lots of free stuff, you're going to like that person.
Very true.
Yeah, it's just normal, sane human behavior.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how you do it. So that's why I do a lot of free stuff. I share a lot of daily content. I do my Monday webinars. I do my Thursday networking events, which you've been to, and thank you.
Yep.
And so I build rapport through giving people great stuff for free.
That's great. I guess it's really about you give and then you gain in return, right? So it's I guess it's the human nature part of it that works.
And it depends on your influencer journey. Like, I have a few friends which are young, attractive ladies, and they're like Instagram girls, right?
Yep.
And you know, they'll put up photos of them in bikinis at pools, like modeling on Instagram. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
And you know, some of them are basically just within Instagram's nudity rules. They're doing whatever they can to put up posts of them wearing as little as possible, because they get more views, they get more likes, they get more followers.
Correct. That's it.
You know, so I got friends who are Instagram girls who got hundreds of thousands of followers, and their audience wants to see them basically, you know, they want to see them hot. They want that form of visual entertainment. I'm trying to keep this, you know, PG-13 here, right? But they want that form of entertainment, right? Whereas people with me, you know, I'm not a sexy Instagram girl. I'm a middle-aged Persian man, right? But for me, they follow me for the inspiration, the ideas. So you got to know what your brand stands for. So if you're like an attractive, you know, young lady who's putting out hot photos on Instagram, that's one form of influencing. Whether it's if you're a business educator like me, it's a different form of influencing.
Yeah, definitely, totally. But I guess like if you're a hot girl, you'll get more followers and likes. That's just the trend nowadays these days. You just see too much of it. Yeah.
Well, so a lot of people have asked me, Ed, I get asked this question a lot. Ed, if you were female, how would it change what you're doing? And I just said straight up, oh, I'd be in bikinis and swimsuits on Instagram. Well, if I was like a female Persian lady, you know what I mean? Big fluffy hair doing all black. And people think it's hilarious because they know I would do that. And I say that with respect. You know, I absolutely say that with respect. You gotta work with what you have, right? Like, I'm a middle-aged Persian guy.
Yep.
You know, I'm not a supermodel or anything like that. So, you know, what I do is business to business and helping people with influence and persuasion, motivation. You got to work with what you have, right? And that's the way that you go about it.
Totally. Yeah, like I guess if you're a hot girl, that's a bonus for you. Like that's just extra. But
right. Well, as I always say, if someone's but let's change, make it. Be it you're a hot guy, you're a hot girl. Oh man, you can make money out of that. I'd be on Instagram. You know, you use that as an asset to help you do it. Because interestingly, now I don't put myself out there as a sex symbol. Only my wildest dreams would I do that. I know I'm not. But however, people love my photos. People love my gym videos. Like if I put gym videos on LinkedIn, I'll get thousands of views. People love that.
Yep.
So even though I'm not coming across as a sex symbol, which I'm not, but I wish I was in my wildest dreams. But I am coming across as a fitness symbol, if that makes sense. Even though I'm not a fitness guy, people find my fitness side very inspirational. So it's another thing that I found that helps me better connect with my audience.
Yeah, I guess it's really about how you hustle in your journey. And when I see you at the gym, like it's like you're a hard worker. I want to be like you. I want to be like an influencer. Yeah, it's really about having that right image for yourself so other people can buy into you. That's great. So yeah, Ed, that's pretty much all the questions. So how do we find more about you? Like, what's your website? What are you on social media? Can you tell me about how we can look you up?
Oh, Sam, that's a pleasure and thank you. Best way is if you type my name into Google, easy to find, please add me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I always follow back, so find me on the main platforms.
Yep.
LinkedIn's more my thing. And if you type in my name, you'll see my website and more. And I've got to say, Sam, just before you go,
Yep.
I was going to say, you are an amazing interviewer. I love the smoothness and your interviewing style, Sam.
Thanks for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, you're the first one to compliment me, so I guess I'm on the right track. And it's really, I'm really privileged to have you aboard, like, as an influencer. And that's the purpose of these programs, to interview how they got into where they are, how successful they are, and the hints and tips behind. And I'm very privileged to have you on board. Viewers, if you check out Edward Zia, because he's a great personality, a great person to talk to, easy to talk to, and I hope you can connect with him, make his followers to 100,000 very soon.
I need 100,000. My goal is to get to 100,000 by the end of the year. So fingers crossed. If I don't get there, I'll be close, but I want to get there by the end of the year. So whatever I can do to get there.
That's great. That's great. So what are your plans for this week? Anything special or?
Yeah, well, for me, I'm actually interviewing one of my wonderful clients and friends after this. So right now I'm being interviewed, but after this, I'm going to go from the prey to predator, right? But for me though, for me, it's a lot of events. So I usually going to be spending a bit of time on Friday in the Sydney CBD, meeting some great people. But this week I've got a lot of events, a lot of content. So what I've done is I've actually tweaked my content strategy a bit over the past few days.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm deploying that new strategy. So I made a few tweaks and seeing how it goes, because that's an important thing as an influencer. You always got to be studying your results and tweaking your content and coming up with new ideas.
That's true. So would you say you're working 7 days a week?
Yes and no. Yes and no. So the way it goes as a influencer is it's a bit different to the workplace. It's not like I go to work, then I go home. It's more like you're working and holidaying all the time. Okay. So for example, on Wednesdays, probably not this week because the weather's terrible. It's in our winter in Australia. But quite often is that usually I'll have Wednesdays and Thursdays off, sometimes Tuesdays, sometimes weekends off, but then I'll still be doing content. I'll still be interacting on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So it's different. It's a different form of work. It's not so much you go to the workplace, then go home. It's more you're working continuously, which is a very common influencer experience.
That's great. Yeah, I guess something you can do is look at people who's in your position, and then like they're doing what they're doing, you can copy what they're doing, so you'll be on the same page, which is really good. So
and just on that note as well, I encourage everyone, speak to different influencers from different platforms who get different experience. So I'm obviously a LinkedIn influencer.
Yep.
Speak to a YouTuber, speak to a Facebooker, speak to an Instagrammer, speak to a Twitter character.
Yep.
Everyone will have a different experience and you'll be able to get some great ideas. So again, I'm a LinkedIn guy, but whatever platform you're on, speak to everyone and you'll get great ideas to help you win in your own unique way.
That's a great tip of the day. That's great. Well, it's good. Well, Ed, thanks for your time. Our time is drawn to a close, but I wish I could speak to you more. But it's great talking to you, and I hope you have a nice week full of surprises and success.
Sam, appreciate you, man, and thank you again. Love your work.
All right.